Yes, it is.
Well, this is probably the most detailed handout that I've given. There's just more of an outline, but I felt it pressed upon me to do more of a detailed. It's something that we need to really understand. The history of the Sabbath. We don't really talk about it much in terms of the history. So the lesson for the next few weeks will feel like a wax on, wax off kind of deal. It's like, oh my God, why are we doing this really? Sometimes going through history is not always like the funnest thing to do, but by doing it, we gain the knowledge that we need. If I don't understand the history of the Sabbath, then I'll never get to the place of entering the Sabbath. Okay? If I don't understand the history of the Sabbath, then how can I expect to actually enter into the Sabbath rest?
Okay, that's good.
God says that He's looking for His people to come into a Sabbath rest. And so I began to ask God some questions, again, stemming from a conversation having with Isaiah and conversation having with a bunch of other people after that a couple of weeks ago, where it just seemed to be, the conversation seemed to be the same.
Okay.
And so, it's usually an indication that I need to get before the Lord and find out what's going on.
All right.
So that we have an appropriate word for what it is that God's people are going through.
Yes, sir.
And we know that the enemy is crafty, right?
Yes.
And so you probably have concluded, if you haven't already read through the handout, that that the key verse is going to be those verses that deals with keep the Sabbath, right? Keep the Sabbath, and so we're going to try to discover, why is it that God was so intentional about His people keeping a Sabbath?
Okay.
A Sabbath is a seventh day, right?
Yes, sir.
It just means a seventh day. And we understand that based off of the Bible, that God is not so much into what day becomes our Sabbath. He was here, but in today's system of things, because we're no longer so much under the law, but the principles of this still apply.
Okay.
But Paul lets us know in Colossians that let no man judge you of what your Sabbath is. So no man can judge me as to what day my Sabbath is. But check this out. He didn't say that no man can judge you for not having a Sabbath. He said just no man can judge you for what day it is.
Okay. Right.
So whatever day one chooses for their Sabbath is fine with God, but just keep it.
All right. Got you.
See, there's something about a consistency.
Come
so
on.
if you choose Saturday to be your Sabbath, then be consistent with your Sabbath being on Saturday.
All right.
Now, don't have Sabbath on Saturday for a month and then say, well, I think I'm going to change mine to Friday. And in 2 weeks of Friday, say, well, I don't want Friday no more, I'm doing Monday.
Okay.
We just all over the place. But whatever day. So we do know that there are some who celebrate or who actually enter into the Sabbath on a Saturday. Our Jewish brothers would be one, and our Seventh-day Adventists would be another. That actually, and then there's some other groups that don't actually fall under those umbrellas that actually meet on Saturdays. Some churches have actually gone to a place to where they're big enough and they have enough people that they have a service on Saturday, and then they have two on Sunday. And so some people within that same congregation could choose for their Sabbath to be on a Saturday. And so they go to service every Saturday. And then there are those who choose to keep it at Sunday. So what we want to do is first discover, how did we get to Sunday? How did we get from Saturday to Sunday? And then we want to get to how did it even get started? How did it get instituted? Well, that question should have been answered by just reading the text. And you see that God said, keep it holy, right? It's a holy convocation. There's something else that in the text, as it was being read, that you'll see that God, you can follow God because God does things in patterns. He just repeats the pattern. He'll create the pattern and he'll just keep repeating the pattern. How do I know this to be true? Because the tabernacle that was built based off of a pattern that was already in heaven. Moses himself said, I have received the blueprint of the tabernacle that is in heaven that God wants me to build here on earth.
All right.
So the tabernacle already had been established in heaven, and God just gave Moses the pattern to copy off of. And so we can see God's movement through the pattern that he sets. Well, if God really wants us to do something, and if he really wants to establish something, isn't it amazing that God, being the creator of the universe, that just knows everything, can just do what he want to do, that God said that, you know, let me do something for 6 days, and then on the 7th day I'm going to take a break. 7th day I'm going to take a break.
All right.
But he was creating a pattern.
Right.
He was creating a pattern of 7, if you will, that for 6 days something going to happen. Then on the 7th day, we ain't going to do nothing. We're just going to take rest.
Okay.
All right. How many people always talk about how tired they are?
Everybody.
Yeah, people talk about how tired they are. But I wonder how many people really rest.
Yeah, that's right.
No, they don't really rest.
That's right.
Because some folk go to bed with stuff on their mind. So they ain't even resting while they think they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Because stuff is still going through their mind.
Yep.
So the question is, how many people rest? And if you don't rest, then how do you get refreshed?
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
So if this thing was important enough to God to actually say that in Genesis, where he actually says that on the 7th day he rested from all of his works. He rested from all of his works. And then, even before, check this out, even before he gave the law of the Sabbath to Moses, Noah built an ark, didn't he? You remember the story?
That's right.
God gave him quite a few years to build that thing too, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, gave him quite a few years to build that thing. But then he came to Noah one day. It's in the lesson. He came to Noah one day, and he told Noah, he said, Noah, he said, in 7 days, I'm going to let it pour.
Come on.
He said, the rain is coming.
All right. He did.
And so he was letting Moses know, not Noah, thank you, where he at, give me a reminder. Letting Noah know that, in fact, you got 6 days to get those animals into the ark. 6 days
That's right.
to do what I've asked you to do.
Okay.
You've completed the ark. Now you got 6 days to get the animals in.
Okay. Okay.
He said, because on the 7th day, it's going to pour.
Come on.
It's going to pour. Again, a pattern of 7 where God says, I'm giving you 6 days to do something. Don't be worried about it on the 7th, because the 7th is going to be, it's all over.
Yeah.
Well, not only do we see that pattern of 7 with Noah, but we see it with Job as well.
Okay.
Job had 7 sons who had a feast each day, and each day they went to another brother's house.
Okay.
So they feasted, and some would say they were partying all week long.
All right.
They go from house to house
Okay.
throughout the week. Ain't settled down. They had the means. We got to go to work. They had the means that they could just party every day,
Party. Yeah.
have a feast every day. Their father understood this. Job understood this. And so the scripture says that 1 week after they were finished, that 7th day, that Job went up and offered up a sacrifice to God on the behalf of his sons. See,
Come on now. Come on.
when God set it up, he set it up that the Sabbath day would be a day for him.
Okay.
And we wonder sometimes why it is that people have such a struggle to get to a service where a worship of God is going on, regardless to what day they choose.
Right. Right.
I guarantee you, if folk chose, and we discovered this in Bible study. When folk wanted Bible study to move, and we moved Bible study to Friday.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. The same folk that wanted to move to Friday still didn't show
Come
up.
on. Right.
That's
Or
right.
they came and they stopped.
That's
That's
right.
right, that's
See?
right, that's right.
You know, moving back to Wednesday.
That's right, that's right.
You know, it doesn't matter what day it is. I know we all think we have a preference. Sometimes if you just poll people and say, when you want this day to be, you ain't gonna get no consensus.
No.
Some people gonna want it over here, some people gonna want it over here, some
Right.
people gonna want it over here. And the ones that want it over here, if you choose this day, they ain't coming.
See?
They gonna come the first time, but they ain't gonna be consistent with it. Why?
No.
The question is why? Why can't we be consistent
Yeah.
with a day that we choose? Unless, of course, it's a job.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
thank you.
See?
And the man tell you,
See?
I need you,
See?
I need you, your off days, now watch this, your off days are gonna be Thursday and Friday.
Uh-oh.
But the rest of the week I need you here.
Uh-oh.
Ain't nobody going to talk to him saying, well, you know what?
See?
I really would prefer to work
Right.
Monday through Friday and have
Right.
weekends off.
Right.
Ain't nobody having that conversation.
No.
Well, I should say ain't nobody. There might be a few people that will have that conversation. I know a couple of guys that have to sit back there that would have that conversation.
Yeah.
I know a couple back there that would have, they didn't have such a conversation.
Okay.
So I can't say nobody.
Tell on them.
But even for some folk on a job, it really don't matter what day they get off. They always want one that ain't theirs.
That's
Yeah.
right, that's right.
Just the way it is.
Yeah.
That's right.
So God instituted this thing, and so I'm hoping we start to get a picture why or hope we begin to get a picture why the enemy wants to work so hard to stop us from doing what it is God has designated for us to do.
Come on now. Come on.
Why is it? Why is it he can make us feel like ain't nothing happening?
Come on. See?
Why is he can make us feel like I ain't welcome there?
Come on.
Why is it that he works so hard for you to stay home?
See? Come on. Wow.
Why? Because he knows that God has designated a day for his people to worship him. And he's like, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of excuses why not to be there.
Why not to be there?
And you might ease up in, but you ain't going to be consistent. I'm going to give you a reason not to be consistent.
Okay.
See, one reason is going to be because, you know, back in the day, the music ain't what I want it to be.
Right.
Another reason might be, they just go too long.
Right.
Another reason might be, well, I just want to start service at 9 o'clock and walk out at 10 o'clock. You know, all kinds of reasons.
That's right.
They looked at me funny.
Wow.
All kind of reasons the enemy used. I ain't feeling it today. I woke up and had a headache. I ain't feeling it today. But guess what? If you don't feel it today, I guarantee you ain't gonna feel it again another week.
That's right.
Cause Bedside Baptist is gonna start to feel real good to you.
Yeah.
You're gonna get real comfortable with that head on the pillow.
That's right.
I guarantee you when you stay home, ain't no real worship going on.
Come on now.
No.
Come on.
That's right.
See, and so God understood.
Yeah.
I can't refresh you
That's right.
if you ain't with me.
That's right. That's right.
See, I'm going to refresh you in the midst of your worship to me.
Come on. Come
Huh?
on. See, that's-
There's a sacrifice
Yeah.
that took place on the Sabbath. On the Sabbath, they offered up sacrifices unto the Lord.
That's good.
The Lord said, I still want the sacrifices. The sacrifice is going to be you.
Yeah.
See, you got to sacrifice you.
That's right.
Present your living body as a sacrifice unto God.
Yeah.
Holy and acceptable worship unto him.
Yeah.
It is a sacrifice to come here sometime.
That's right.
There's just sometimes I'd rather be doing something else.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
But I told God that my seventh day was going to be Sunday.
See, Sundays.
And so I sacrifice to get to where he needs me to be.
Yeah.
And then when I get there, I sacrifice
Yes.
my
Yes.
praise unto him.
Yes.
I ain't feeling like praising. I got a headache right now. My throat don't feel
Come on,
good right
see?
now.
See?
If you knew how they treated me the other day on the job, I'm still a little ticked and a little
See?
mad about that situation. I got no praise in me. That's why it's a sacrifice
Sacrifice.
of praise.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Huh?
Come on now.
I got to sacrifice this thing unto the Lord. See, I don't come to sacrifice it to you.
That's right.
I come to sacrifice it to him.
That's right.
I didn't come here because of you. I came here because of him. I have made an agreement with him that if I could have a little bit of salvation, that I would give him one day out of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
Because that's what he requires of me. So I came in to this agreement. Check this out. But if I don't understand this, if I don't get through the wax on, wax off process of this, if I don't understand the history of this, guess what? I am never going to enter into that place of rest that he wants for me. I am going to be like the children of Israel, wandering around in the wilderness, never getting what it is God has for me, because I think somehow that the promise that he made me gives me my rest.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But in the book of Hebrew, he said that it wasn't the promise of the promised land. It wasn't Joshua getting them into the promised land that was they were going to enter into rest, because there was still yet another day of rest.
Yeah.
See, and if we don't understand just the very basic principle of God and his day of rest, then how in the world are we going to ever get there?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh? If I think what God has promised me, or what God is doing for me, or what God said he's going to do for me, if I think somehow that's going to bring me to the place of rest, I've missed it. That is not going to refresh me. Can I just tell y'all that? Me getting what God promised me is not going to refresh me.
Right. Right.
It ain't.
That's right.
That's why most people, like Israel, when they wanted to meet and God gave it to them, they still wasn't refreshed.
Come on.
That's right.
They were still complaining.
Good. That's good.
Huh? How many times have God given you something and you still complaining?
That's right.
Still ungrateful?
That's right.
Because you don't understand the principle behind the day of rest. If we understood the principle behind the day of rest and entering into the Sabbath rest, we would understand it got nothing to do with stuff.
Okay.
But it's got all to do with salvation.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It ain't the stuff.
That's right.
It ain't what God's given us.
That's right.
It ain't got what God's doing for us. It's what Jesus has already done for us.
Right.
God is like, do you trust me enough?
That's right.
Do you love me enough
Yes.
to come on in and enter into the Sabbath rest?
See?
Can I be your leaning pole? Can you just lean on me? Huh? Can you just rest your entire personality on me? When you go to bed at night and you tired and you frustrated and you bust up and folk that made you mad and you want to get a little shut-eye, you go in your room, fluff up your pillow, get your bed pull back, and you climb up in there, and your intent is to lay your entire body on the bed and on the pillow.
Yeah.
And you expect that mattress to support you. And when it don't, you want a new one.
That's right. That's right.
Don't we?
Yeah.
When the pillow wear out, we look for a new one. Because you wake up and your neck is hurting. Your back is hurting. You say, I got to get rid of this pillow.
See? That's right.
Because we're expecting to rest our entire person on this bed and pillow. And we expect when we rest on it that when we get up, we're going to feel good.
Right.
Don't we? Huh? God said, I'm trying to teach you how to just rest on me.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Huh? Don't base it off of what you asked me for.
Okay.
Don't even base it off of what I promised you.
That's right. That's right.
Huh?
Okay.
Don't base it off of what I promised you or you're going to miss it.
Okay.
You got to base it off of who I am. You got to base it off of the pattern that I gave you.
Okay.
You got to base it off the fact that I said I rested on the seventh day. And I need you to cease from your labor. See, some of us is tired and mad and frustrated because we still working.
Yes. That's right.
Huh? Because we still work. Check this out. How many people have retired and just sit back and go, ooh, this feel real good.
See?
That would be me. Ooh, this feel real good.
Okay.
Whatever I do now is volunteer work.
Yeah.
I do it when I want to do it.
All right.
Leave when I want to leave. Yeah. If you call me, I can say no.
Right,
That's right.
right.
That's right.
Huh? That's a good feeling, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't cease from my labor. I didn't cease from having to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
Huh? I didn't put the time in.
Right.
My Sabbath has come.
Come on.
Yeah, my Sabbath have come.
See?
And I can just sit back
Wow.
and relax
Wow.
and let God refresh me from all the years of working.
Yes. Yes.
Well, God's saying, through 6 days of working,
Yes.
of laboring, He understood it's going to wear you out.
That's
Yes.
right.
He says, and I need to create for you a space and a time that me and you can get together and have a conversation. And I can address some of your needs
Okay.
and a lot of your problems.
That's right. That's right.
Huh? I can give you a word, a fresh word, a rhema word for your
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
I need just a little bit of your time, and I need the whole day.
Yes,
I don't need you to break it up.
All right.
That's right.
Don't tell me your Sabbath only consists of me having 3 hours of your day. Or for I said I want the whole seventh day.
Yeah.
Huh? Now, if you're in the Jewish community, that means from 6 p.m.
Okay.
to 6 p.m.
Okay. That's right.
In our way of looking at it, 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. That one whole day, 24 hours, the last time I checked.
All
That's
right.
right.